Greetings and welcome to the second recorded session of Siege of the Empire, 5th edition Dungeons & Dragons campaign run by myself, Mankey Games, aka Jordan, aka the DM. I will not be going today into much about the world, as that is mostly in my previous intro, and eventually I will be making an intro video. However, today I'll be doing a quick couple-minute recap on what has gone on up till now, in case you missed the previous session. During the previous session, the group of individuals had just escaped from the lair that was located under Ravenstein, and they continued on to the town of Tussenhof, along the way passing by the previous lord of that town and area. They met up with their old friend Elphine and Elizabeth, and they came to find out that there was a small coup, and the Grey Order, which Elphine is a member of, was able to complete their task successfully, get the Lord out of town, and they were able to, well, they're going to instate a new new governor of the town, to secure the lands around it. This means that trade will flow to the town of Sarno and further downtowns, which is very important for everyone involved. With the completion of their quest, the party decided to set out on their journey. They were, however, camping one night, and they were assailed by an undead spirit with a familiar face, recognizable from back in Ravenstein. And they were able to defeat it. We had some close calls with Raka and Jericho, but they were able to defeat the evil and essentially move on with their lives. However, we ended last session on the point of where they had been stopped by an individual with a very large wolf friend, or wolf-like friend, and this individual had a brand on his head with the symbol of Tal, who is the god of the wild places in this world. And the individual accosted them, and then the wolf picked up what the individual described as the scent of chaos coming from our party member Wolfram. Now, we kind of left it there. The party still will obviously have to decide what to do in this scenario. It's clear that there is some aggression coming from this individual, this follower of Tal, but not outwardly so. Who knows if he's alone? Who knows what his intentions are? We'll find that out as soon as we start. And since it's only been 3 minutes and 30 seconds, I will do a brief introduction into some things that may interest the people here. So one thing I didn't go over before, but it's going to come into a big part here very soon, are the deities of the world. So I'll do a brief introduction. Essentially, this is just going to be the deities and what they are gods of. These are the dwarven gods here. We have Grungni, the god of mining, smithing, and forging. We have Valaya, the protector goddess. She is the only female dwarven god. And then we have Grimnir, the god of warriors and slayers. Very important in dwarven culture. We do have a dwarf in the party, Mr. Male Ironoath. We'll see if that affects him in any way. The elven gods, and now these are both the High Elven and Dark Elven gods. We have Assyrian, the Phoenix god, King of gods. Think of him as a Zeus-like character. We have Isha, the motherly goddess of the harvest. Kronos, the god of the hunt, essentially the same as Tal, but for elves. Val, the god of smithing. Moraheg, the goddess of souls, essentially the goddess of death. Lilith, the goddess of the moon, who is most commonly worshipped by the druids in the elven society. And Hoeth, the goddess of wisdom and knowledge, who plays a very, very big part in the arcane magics of the elven people. Then that sect of gods is called the Kadai. Then there's the Sarathai, with Kalamencha Kane. Now, Kalamencha Kane is the god of war, murder, and torture. He's also worshipped by the High Elves. However, the High Elves' interpretation of him is basically the god of war, similar to what would be in Greek culture, the god of war. Ares, the god of war. However, the Dark Elves also worship him for the murder and torture portion of his stigma. Very interesting concept there. There's Loic, the god of trickery, dance, vengeance, and shadows. There's Athari, the goddess of displeasure and indulgence. And Helkari, the goddess of dark magic. There's Aerith Kial, the goddess of the underworld, second to Asurian, who, if you remember correctly, Asurian is the phoenix god and king of gods here. There is Elina, which is many-faced god of destruction. There's Nethu, god of the underworld and son of Aerith Kial. And there's Anath Urema, goddess of the savage hunt. You'll notice that a lot of these deities have correlation between each other, and that's a very important thing to note in this world. There's a lot of probably gods and goddesses that are the same, just different names in different cultures. Then we've got the greenskin gods. Greenskins typically worship two different gods. We've got Gork and Mork, twin gods of the orcs and goblins, one cunningly brutal, the other brutally cunning. Orcs never quite agree which god is which, and many battles have been fought as a result. And then the spider god, the third deity next to Gork and Mork, worshipped by the forest goblins. So the goblins that live in the forest, they don't follow Gork and Mork as much as they follow the spider god, and that may play a factor upcoming. Then the biggest section here, we've got the human deities. So the human deities, Sigmar is the founder and patron god of the Empire. He isn't, while in the Empire he's a very prominent figure in everywhere that you go, is not commonly worshipped outside of the Empire. We have Ulrich, the god of wolves, winter, and battle, mostly worshipped a lot by the northern in Norska and that kind of thing. We've got Mor, the guardian god of the dead and ruler of the underworld, also the god of dreams and prophecies. We've got Shalia, the goddess of healing and mercy. We've got Ranald, the god of non-violent thieves and tricksters. We've got Verena, the goddess of knowledge, science, law, and justice. Remember that because it will be a big deal later. We've got Tal, who, as I stated, is going to be a prominent figure in this upcoming couple of sessions. The god of nature and wild places. We've got Raya, the goddess of life and fertility. Manan, the god of the seas. Gundred, the god of rustlers, intimidation, and blackmailing. Some claim that he is like a dual personality of Renald, but if you follow one, you do not believe that. It's mainly that viewpoint is taken from the outside. Hendrik, the god of trade, all legitimate business, trade, and commerce centered in Marienburg. He is also the patron of merchants. We've got a Halt the Drinker, ancient god of hunt and fertility. He is a sworn enemy of Tal, however. His worshippers are known mainly for their bloody rituals, many of which include human sacrifice. So he's kind of on the darker end of the deities. And as well, we have Stormfell, the god of storms and sharks, patron of pirates and wreckers. Worshipped commonly in Bretonia, we have the Lady of the Lake, a patron goddess of Bretonia. Bretonia is has a very King Arthur, Knights of the Round Table feel to it. In fact, our halfling wizard Milo is actually from Bretonia. Interesting thing to note. In Kislev, they worship three other gods, which is Ursun, the father of bears and patron god of Kislev, Daz, which is the god of sun and fire, and Tor, the warrior god of storms, thunder, and lightning. In Tilia and Astilia, we've got Myrmidia, who is the goddess of war, tactic, and strategy. She's also the patron of art, science, and other things. Usually, there are a few empirical places that do worship Myrmidea, but typically they are only found in Tilia and Astilia, which is in the south of the continent. We've got Solkan, the god of vengeance, also god of the sun, worshipped primarily by southern parts of the old world, such as Tilia. So those two gods are, if we look at our map, they're mostly in this area down here. So, in addition to that, we've got the Nakarian gods. Now, the Nakarian gods are old gods that were previously worshipped in the land of the dead by the old regime that used to rule there before the vampire counts really took hold and kind of changed them. But there are still places and there are still things that follow these deities. There's Petra, god of the sun, or the sun god. There's Neru, minor goddess of the moon, and the wife of Petra. Mizimelajar, the minor god of slaves. Sakmet, the minor goddess of the green moon. Asap, the asp goddess of beauty, magic, and vengeance. We've got Sar, the fierce and malign god of the desert. We've got Jaf, the jackal-headed god of death. We've got Fakth, the hawk god of the sky and bringer of swift justice. We've got Kopa, or Quap, the god of serpents and subtlety. We've got Lupt, vulture-headed goddess of scavengers. We've got Sokth, the treacherous god of assassins and thieves. We've got Bast, the goddess of grace and love. We've got Tahoth, god of knowledge and keeper of sacred lore. We've got Gehib, the god of the earth and giant and giver of strength, and we've got Ursirian, the faceless god of the underworld. And I forgot a D there. Totally ignore that. It doesn't exist. It's actually underworld in the southern nations. So, moving right along, we also have the Old Ones. Now, the Old Ones are typically worshipped only by the Lizardmen. They believe in these deities who may or may not have existed in a physical form at some point. However, it is most commonly understood that they are gone from this world. I'm not going to go over the lesser ones so much, but the prominent ones, the ones we really need to worry about. Sotek is the serpent god. He's worshipped as the principal deity of Lizardmen since the cult of Sotek drove out the Skaven clan pestilence. We've got Chotek, probably the second most common deity of the Old Ones, Lord of the Sun. We've got Tlazkotl, the impassive. We've got Zuniki, Lord of Water. We've got Honchi, the jaguar god. We've got Quetzal, the protector. We've got Tepak, the inscrutable, and Itzel, the lord of cold-blooded beasts. And all of these gods have a different aspect to them that applies to Lizardmen. Some other ones of note within the world that may not come up too often, but do need to be understood. We've got Hashut, the Chaos Dwarf god. We've got the Horned Rat, who is god of Skaven. All Skaven worship the Horned Rat. They are a singular deity religion. We've got the Great Maw, god of the ogres, and we've got Firemouth, who is another god of the ogres, just worshipped by different sects of the ogre culture. And then finally, the ones that I know everybody probably knows already, we've got the gods of chaos. We've got Khorne, the blood god. He's also known as the god of hate, rage, and bloodshed. We've got Nurgle, the lord of decay. He's got a plague and decay. We've got Slanesh, the dark prince, god of self-indulgence and lust. And we've got Zincht, who is the changer of ways, god of change, sorcery, ambition, and scheming. And that does it for the deities. So, that'll be the little lore portion I go over today. However, what I'm going to do at this moment is I'm going to refresh the stream. I'm going to get our stream watcher in here so that you guys don't see all the stuff going on behind the scenes on my GM screen. And then I will turn the stream back on. Actually, you know what? I can probably just do this. No, we'll do that. We're going to shut down the stream and then we'll bring it back up and then we'll be able to hear everybody talking. So, hang with me for another maybe 6 or 7 minutes while I go ahead and refresh the stream and get everything set up. So, we'll see you guys then.